Last week, after detectives served several search warrants, 2 women were rescued from the location and have been placed in safe housing. In addition, 4 suspects have now been arrested, and they are Jose Avarallo, Gladys Luna Hernandez, Julio Duran, and Edward Luna Sanchez. Detectives also recovered more than $50,000 in cash, 5 vehicles, passports, and several other items relating to human trafficking. So I would like to thank the investigators assigned to the BPD's Anti-Human Trafficking Unit, along with our partners from Homeland Security Investigations and Baltimore City State's Attorney's Office for their incredible work on this case. Reducing crime in Baltimore and keeping the residents safe is the core mission of our department, but we cannot do it alone, as we all know. A major part of my crime reduction strategy is to strengthen our coordination and collaboration with local, state, and our federal partners. This case is a great example of what we can accomplish when we work together, and I'm so proud to be a part of this team. At this time, I'd like to ask our state's attorney to say a few words, and after that, we'll be glad to answer any questions. Excuse me.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Commissioner. I'm so pleased to stand before you today with Baltimore Police Department Commissioner Michael Harrison, the supervisory agent for Homeland Investigations, Kelly Baird, members of the Baltimore Police Department Anti-Human Trafficking Unit, the Mayor's Office of Criminal Justice Human Trafficking Coordinator Thomas Stack, Chair Baltimore City Human Trafficking Collaborative Councilman Christopher Burnett, as well as Catalina Rodriguez Lima, Director of the Mayor's Office of Immigrant Affairs, along with my talented attorneys of my Special Victims Unit, to announce the takedown of an alleged human trafficking operation in our city, suspected of targeting undocumented Hispanic immigrants. This investigation, which is the result of an initiative and partnership with Baltimore Police Department's Vice and Child Sex Trafficking Unit, Homeland Security, and my Special Victims Unit, led by Michelle Lambert, has been underway for several months and has thankfully, as you can see, produced not only results in the arrest and/or charges of 4 individuals that were alleged to be operating a Hispanic brothel in Southeast Baltimore, but the confiscation, as the Commissioner has indicated, of more than $50,000 in cash, 5 vehicles, passports, ledgers, and various other items specific to a human trafficking operation. It should go without saying, but all of those charged are presumed innocent unless and until proven guilty. As we are all well aware, human trafficking is a form of modern-day slavery that involves the use of force, fraud, and/or coercion to recruit, transport, abduct, or deceive vulnerable individuals, including children, as a means to obtain a type of labor or commercial sex act, and in this case, prostitution. Victims of trafficking brought to the United States illegally are particularly vulnerable group because they are often afraid and alone and frequently have their passports and other identifying papers taken from them by traffickers. Many have no way to contact their families or friends, and as they are stripped of their identity and forced to rely on the traffickers for survival. Thankfully, at least 2 undocumented immigrants were rescued from this alleged human trafficking operation and were immediately transported to safe housing. Trafficking is not always obvious. Victims rarely come forward to seek help for a variety of reasons, including fear of the traffickers, distrust of law enforcement, and/or, like in this case today, possibly fear of deportation. This is why I'm encouraged by these arrests last week, which represent the type of multi-agency collaboration that is not only needed to identify these operations in order to protect some of our most vulnerable populations. Yet again, it's this multi-collaboration, agency collaboration, which showcases the criminal justice system at its best. So with that, I would especially like to thank my Deputy of Major Crimes, Patricia DeMayo, Chief of our Special Victims Unit, Michelle Lambert, and her team of talented prosecutors, including Assistant State's Attorney Callie Smith, who led this investigation along with Baltimore Police Department Vice Unit. As I stated last week, collaboration and partnership is key to tackling violence in our city. Together, we are stronger. Together, we can eradicate not only street violence, but violence against women to achieve the progress that we seek and that our communities so much deserve. Turn it back over to Commissioner.
Commissioner, how old were the 2 women that were arrested that were victims in this case?
We're not working to identify any characteristics that would identify anybody who was a victim. of any of this, other than there were 2 victims who were rescued.
And they were
Generally,
female.
they're
They were female.
old. Can you generally give a 30-year-old, 40-year-old, 15-year-old?
I think it's better served for their protection that we not give any identifying things that remotely even identify their age or who they could be.
Do you think there might be more victims just not coming forward or that may have escaped at some point?
Well, we're always working to identify more victims and receive more information. So if anybody has more information, please give it to us because this doesn't have to stop. We want to make sure we can rescue as many victims as possible and eradicate this problem.
Have you figured out where they came from? You say they were Hispanic, but another country, obviously. How did they get into the country? Have you tracked sort of how they made it to Baltimore?
Well, right now we have tracked that they were being victimized, that they were being trafficked, and that we have the people that we believe are responsible for them in custody and under arrest.
Commissioner, when you announced this at first, you called the first gentleman Luna Sanchez. Is that his correct name, or is it Hernandez as it says on the? Is it Sanchez?
Should be Sanchez.
Okay. And they've all been arrested. Have they all seen a judge? Are they all being held? Or
They have been arrested.
Can you tell us the MO of how this brothel worked? I mean, how do they even find clients? Is it this back page, social media type stuff, or all within the community, or
Well,
how were they operating?
Well, let's just say right now, we don't want to reveal tactics and techniques because this could be ongoing. There could be more victims and or more perpetrators that we're looking to catch.
what
Okay.
will happen to the 2 women who were rescued? Will they be deported? Will they be sent to ICE? Will they? I hate to ask that, but it's, you know, a hot button issue in our country
Well,
right now.
at this moment and in the future, they are considered victims of this crime. And so there are services that could be provided to them to help them heal and help them overcome the trauma that they have endured. They are the victims of crime. And according to our policy, we are only enforcing criminal law. We're not enforcing immigration policy. That's a federal offense, should be enforced by the federal authorities. We are enforcing criminal law, and they are the victims of crime here in our city.
Sir, are the 4 suspects on the screen, are they undocumented immigrants as well?
We can get that to you. I don't have that at the moment.
Do they all live there? Did the trafficking take place there, or were they brought to other places? Can you go there?
I can't give you that at the very moment. I think that's another question that leads to tactics and techniques that would compromise further investigations that we may be involved in.
How long do you believe that they've been operating in this location?
Long enough for us to gather enough evidence to have probable cause to make their arrest. And this was a several months long investigation. So we know at least from the moment we started several months ago that they have been operating there, and the evidence pointed there, and that's what gave us enough information to draw our attention to it and start the investigation.
Did citizens initiate the initial complaints that kind of tipped you off there was something to look at?
Yes, this was from community support and community information about what they perceived was criminal activity and human trafficking in a particular neighborhood. Yes, and we thank them for that.
And any idea how widespread human trafficking might be in Baltimore? I know it's probably hard to gauge, but you know more than anyone.
Well, we believe there are other areas and that require our attention that we're focused on. It's not just this one area.
Any more questions?
Sir, what is your response to the FOP's reaction to your crime fighting plan?
Well, with the exception of a couple of items, I'm actually pleased to see that they agree with much of what I put in my crime plan. And it appears they took what we wanted to implement and build and put in a crime plan and turn it into a complaint. But they basically regurgitated everything that's in my crime plan, just turned it into the form of a complaint about what hasn't been done. And in my crime plan, we said what we want to do and will do. But they agreed to everything that's in the crime plan, and my office stands always ready, as we were during the development of the plan and even in the early stages of the plan, to meet with them to make the Baltimore Police Department a world-class police department together.
Do you have any response to them characterizing the department as mismanaged?
Well, the management that they're referring to are now demonstrating a reverse of trends in crime. Their numbers that they cited are very outdated because that those trends have now shifted in a different direction, and we're seeing a very different crime number now than they're reporting that we saw in the summer. The management that was non-existent earlier, that's in place now with great levels of accountability and transparency, are showing a reduction in overtime spending with good systems of accountability to ensure that that happens, to make us good stewards of the citizens' tax dollars. So, you know, it's pretty critical, but that's what critics do, and that's okay.
Commissioner, do you feel the crime plan is working since it's been implemented? Since it started, it's been about 82 murders here in the city. Would you say it's working, or would you say we need more time?
There needs more time, but there's a short-term deployment strategy and a long-term transformational plan, which I call the 5-year transformational plan. And it fixes the department from the inside out, dealing with everything from recruitment to retirement and officer wellness and morale and new facilities and equipment, technology, professional development. It touches all of that. That's a long-term plan. But what we can see is that we're moving in the right direction, and you know, we're getting support from our electorates. We're getting support from the business community, academic community, the faith community, you know, the residents and citizens of Baltimore. And we feel that it's moving in the right direction. We're seeing traction.
Madam State's Attorney, the FOP is saying that officers are not being proactive out of concern that your office is going to go after them.
So the only thing I will say is that I was hopeful with the new leadership in the Fraternal Order of Police that they wouldn't have the same sort of divisive political rhetoric. However, we stand by, and they don't represent every single police officer, and that's indicative of the fact that my prosecutors work with police officers every single day. We have a 93% felony conviction rate. That would not happen without our partnership with the police department. You've seen us here on several occasions where we've worked with the police department on long-term investigations. Again, that's about collaboration. And so this idea or concept that I'm an overzealous prosecutor, I can tell you one thing. I will always apply one standard of justice to everyone, regardless of one's sex, race, religion, and even occupation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Both those are really one and the same shit.
Correct spelling.
Yeah.
It's not coming up.
I get it.
Thanks.
But what's correct
They're saying Sanchez is
for both?
He said.
And what's the relation?
Exactly.
I know we